As soon as he came back, that's what he said.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my hands on you.
Yeah, that's right.
Hey, since we talking about cancel culture today, right? So who all the people that we not supposed to talk about?
Let me go. We can't say R. Kelly and we can't say Bill Cosby. Fuck it, let's go.
Well, now I guess you can't say Ron Jeremy. You can't say a lot of these cats.
You can't say Chris Brown. You can't say Chris Brown.
You can't say Chris. You can now, but you could.
What about the baby? We talk about the baby and what he did. What he said to the LGBT.
Hey, you know what? We can.
Brothers, what's going on, man? We out here. How's it going?
It's going good.
What up?
Enjoying it. Hey, man, we just out here trying to make it today. We about to talk about a topic that we've talked about before, but it seems to not want to go away, man. No matter what's going on, we seem to continue to have these same problems, and we about to talk a little bit about cancel culture.
Yeah. Parents, you might want to make sure that label don't show in that bottle. They might try to cancel us. You got to have the bottle, the label turned, where you just see the ingredients.
Oh,
back
yeah.
Cover that up, man.
hey, thank God we not sponsored yet, because I'm sure we would be getting canceled. And we got to talk about that, man. It's Black Twitter out here canceling people, regular Twitter out here canceling people. If we didn't run our own shop, call our own plays, boy, oh boy, I think today we would all be canceled.
Yeah, that's a problem. You know what I'm saying? I think you're speaking to exactly why it's a problem. People can't make a mistake nowadays. They can't say nothing wrong. Everything has to be politically correct. And what was they at when old buddy was the previous president, right? When there was all type of stuff being said, grabbing people by the pussy, all type of stuff that people were talking about. And ain't nobody was canceling nobody then, but all of a sudden we're canceling people. You know, we're canceling comedians for them providing entertainment, right? Like their job is to entertain us. And we're trying to get rid of them for entertaining us. We're not boycotting movies for them having some inappropriate things in there, but we're canceling comedians because they're doing the things that they need to do to entertain us. So, man, is canceling culture a problem? What y'all think?
So, yeah, I'm going to say it is, because it's selective. It's definitely selective. And it's also selective on what content needs to be addressed, because certain content can get skipped over. But if you're saying something about what somebody is, I guess, what's hot for the second, then yeah, it's an issue, which I don't understand. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I think it's definitely a problem, especially for young people, especially young people in entertainment. I wouldn't say it's encourage an entertainer, but she only was like 20 years old, 21 years old, or something like that.
Sorry?
Yeah, 20, she's like 20, 21. So for, people to be like, oh, she's had a bad day at the office, but for her to have a bad day at the office or smoke some weed or whatever she did, then like she's done. Like at 21, like she's gonna be in the Olympics probably 2 more times, before it's all said and done. But all those kind of things go into play. Canceling, like you said, entertainers, musicians, whoever they want to cancel, is one of those things of, if you don't like them, just turn it off. You don't got to be like, oh, they're done forever. Just don't listen to it or don't watch it.
Yeah, I think that is a problem too, because if we just look at, explicit content in our day and era, right? And I'm not going in a certain genre. I'm just throwing out names as I think of them right now. Luke, DJ Quick, Red Fox, Bernie Mac, things like that. If your parents didn't want you to listen to that, Andrew Dice Clay, because we ain't gonna just keep it all black like we the ones be doing this shit. Everybody do this shit. Andrew Dice Clay, all of these different people, they said a whole bunch of different things. And if your parents didn't want you to listen to it, they just turned it off. But now we live in an era where if somebody says something that they don't like that you said, they want everybody to turn you off. And it's like, wait a minute. If you don't like it, just don't partake in it. However, why is it we live in this culture where everything has to get canceled? That to me is a problem. And I think it kind of delays us being a culture of being able to have conversations that are critical that we need to have.
Yeah. One of the biggest problems with cancel culture is that it doesn't allow people to be their authentic self, right? And so we have a big problem in this country with suicide rates and how suicide rates are increasing. Part of that is because people have there's a disconnect between who you want to be, right, and who you are in public around people. Mm-hmm. And after a while, you feel like that person who you actually are is not accepted because people are constantly trying to get rid of you because you make a mistake. You know, people are projecting their imperfections onto other people. So since I have a problem with me not being perfect, I'm projecting that you have to be perfect. And that leads to a big problem within cancel culture because we're getting rid of people and people can't be themselves.
Yeah. Do y'all feel like we've lost or had some people that were important to conversations and controversy that bring on good conversations? Do you feel we've lost some of those people? I kind of feel like we do, or at least they've dumbed down what they can and can't say, which is damn near just like us losing you. That was your gift. The fact that you were saying something everybody else wasn't going to say.
I mean, they do that a lot with like comedians, like DL kind of turned it down. Corey Holcomb, if people know who that is, kind of turned it down because Corey says some wild stuff, dude. You know, people like that, they kind of turn it down. Or they like, you know what? I'm just not going to play those venues. Like I'm not playing colleges or whatever no more because it's too much PC when I go to a college campus. I got to think about too much. I got to think about all these different things. So I can't just do my set. And if y'all like it, y'all like it. If y'all don't, y'all don't. It's more so like, man, did y'all hear what he said over there at Howard University? Get him out of there. Don't ever let him come back, or don't ever book that dude again. You know what I'm saying? So it's one of those things. It's an issue, but I think I think people get canceled for the moment. I think like with the baby, he might be canceled for the moment. It's like with Tory Lanez with the whole thing with Megan, like for the moment, but the dude got talent. So like he keep putting out content and people are kind of muting him for a moment, but he back.
So that's a good point. So basically you saying people get canceled for the moment.
People did it with Kanye. People was like, Kanye is crazy. We don't care about your clothes. We don't care about what you be saying in these riddles on your interviews. And then he bowled that dang on Gap thing situation they got going on, and then he put out more music, and he just kept going and going and going. Now he like worth $5 or $6 billion.
But I'll push it even a step further. I would say that Kanye has always displayed some of these antics and displayed this version of his personality for a while. I would say that the thing that I find most interesting about Kanye as a country, as a culture, when we started to take mental health more serious and we started to be more delicate with people that may have a variety of mental health issues, it was like it gave a certain level of room for Kanye, when really that used to be an antic, something that was exposed, something that was made a mockery of, something that was belittled. Now that we're in a space in which we as a country identify with the issues that come with mental health and how people battle with that, it's like there seems to be a little bit more room for empathy for Kanye West. And that's just my take on it.
But that's because the dude makes great music and he got great sneakers.
The music never stopped, you know?
I ain't canceled nobody.
Right, like, the sneakers is fire, right? The sneakers is fire. You can't find his shoes nowhere. So it's hard to do it when he has a good product and he can make good music. You see what I'm saying? If he was just mediocre, if he was, I don't know nobody's name. If he was just a mediocre artist, then he would have been out of there. Nobody want to hear your music. You ain't that good anyway. You're a one-hit wonder. The designer. If designer came up with Panda right now and he said something crazy, you out of there. You had one song. You had Panda.
That's it. And then also, you know, with the cancel culture, it's you cancel until you're winning. Like a lot of people are told, you know, Antonio Brown, he was the worst guy in the NFL for a long time. Then he just won a Super Bowl, back on. Mm-hmm. So cancel culture only lasts as long as you are not winning. Once you start winning again, it's like, oh, we'll forgive you. So just like with Sha'Carri Richardson, watch if she wins and starts winning over and over again, the story is going to drastically change. She becomes she did drugs, but now she overcame that, and now she's a bona fide track star. And that's what's sad about the cancel culture. It's like, oh yeah, we cancel you until we feel that we accept you again, which is kind of.
But sometimes though, people, they're not supporting you, right? Like there's a lot of people with the Sha'Carri Richardson situation where they wasn't supporting her. They were just mad at the man or mad at the system. And so as soon as she didn't do the thing that they felt like she needed to do, then they was ready to get rid of her. Obviously we could talk about this in regards to mental health. Obviously she stated that she was dealing with some anxiety and some trauma and different things of that nature, and weed have been her substance of choice in order to manage that. Now, we've had the debate already was it a smart decision or not. But I do think that we have to be mindful that mental health is a real thing, and mental illness exists in a lot of people. And so if we're simply canceling people because they make mistakes, then what's going to happen? They're not going to feel comfortable with being themselves. They're going to continue to deal with their pain and suffering in quiet, right? They're going to suffer in silence because they're so afraid that if someone finds out that they're not perfect, or that they're just a human being, then their show's going to get canceled. They're going to lose their sponsorship. All these negative things are going to happen to them simply because they had a moment where they were authentically themselves.
But that's my problem with cancel culture in general. It feels like it's trying to put everybody on a default setting. It's trying to make us all one general group. We can only all act like this. We can only all say like this, so that we're not offending those that are suffering in silence, and we're not allowing those that are willing to speak their voice at a loud, boisterous level, like they're comfortable doing, from doing that. It's like, just go, everybody get in the middle. It's almost like that whole thing of when we were younger, when we played sports, there were winners and losers. It's almost like that's what America or the cancel culture is doing. Everybody's on a default setting. There are no winners and losers. Bullshit. Every day we wake up in life, there's winners and losers. There's those that are winning and those that are not. There are those that win and those that lose. I come outside every day to win. And when I am losing, I know that I'm losing. Every day isn't going to be a win, but I should be allowed to go through those ups and downs and talk about that without it being, well, we don't want to have those conversations because this is going to make a certain group feel like they're being singled out or marginalized. No, every day in life, this is a part of that. And it feels like that's what we're watering down. We're taking the alcoholic drink, we're pouring as much water and ice as we can so that everybody can feel comfortable drinking. No. Drink responsibly.
Is it that they want to feel comfortable drinking it, or they want you to feel comfortable only addressing things a certain way? Because that's another thing that I see it as. Like, in order to engage with either certain cultures or certain individuals, you have to make sure you toe these lines. Because once you take a different step or go a different route, you are no longer going to be accepted in this arena. You have to do it this way. And if you step out of that, we're not going to let you be progressive or go forward. And I think that's sad, because that's like you guys are saying, now I'm in a box and I only have to maneuver how you want me to maneuver. And it seems like there's only a small group of individuals that's controlling that whole movement.
Yeah, did you just have a Tourette's moment when you elevated your voice that way? When you said, that's sad, that my brother had Tourette's for a minute over there. P, you all right, man?
No, you guys want me to be honest? I'm having some technical difficulties, so it seems like you guys are in and out. So it seems like my microphone's in and out too.
Oh, God. He got some situations going on over there.
Nah, that's that group thinking, man. They want, like that said, nobody to be an individual. We all think and move like zombies. We all think and react to things the same, and we don't. Like like what Shikari said after her race the other day. I thought the first part was good. She was like, "Hey, congratulations to the winners. I'll be back." The rest, she kind of went off on a tangent, but I understand it. She only 21. But once she wins the next race and gets back to running them 10-5s again, everybody can be like, oh, she's the greatest woman, since FloJo. So it's one of them things of, like I said, when you winning, you won. When you have a bad day at the office, you lose. She just had a bad day at the office. How many times we done showed up to work like, I don't want to be here today. I'm gonna just go ahead and just show up. But in track, you can't do that because you end up being last like she did. So it's tough.
But do we create a culture of losers by not promoting situations? Like, when I think about this, right, kind of off topic, but my son plays soccer. Tav's sons play soccer, right? Our sons play soccer. I don't know about Tav, but they have the scoreboard when my son's playing, but they don't show the score, right? Like, they're not showing these kids the score in a sense. So when you're taking away the glorification and the joy associated with winning, all you're doing is creating a lot of people who are just content with not losing, right? So they're not striving to win. They're not striving to be great. They're just striving to not be below average. We're creating a system in which people are like Tav said, subscribing to this cookie cutter way of doing things, and that's allowing people to be average because you can't promote winning anymore. You can't have a bad day and then come back, right? Because yes, Sha'Carri lost, but what if she comes back the next 10 times to blow the doors? All the people who was hating, they're not gonna come back and say, "Oh, are bad." Again, we typically have a society where when people are not emotionally equipped to deal with the things we say, the things they see, or losing a match, we have to go out and make life even more simple and easier for them. And what are we doing by that? We're not creating innovators. We're not creating people who change the climate of the world. We're not making the next Zuckerberg or Bezos, or we're not creating any of those new innovators because they give up as soon as they realize that they're not winning.
Absolutely. That's the problem right there. And you're right. They don't keep score at my son's soccer games, but I damn sure do. And we gonna run them numbers in the car. I don't give a damn what your league does. I'm the league at this house, and when we get out of there, if you lost, you lost. If you sucked, you sucked. And yeah, that made some people may say, "Wow, he's really harsh on a 7-year-old." Maybe that's his police issues kicking in. This ain't got nothing to do with police or none of that shit. I know that as I'm raising this person in life, in order for him to be successful, he's going to have to be a competitor. He's going to have to know how to achieve. He's going to have to know how to deal with adversity. He's going to have to know how to deal with pressure. That is separate even from the fact of him being black. He was going to have to do that just in general in life, just to go out and do and achieve. So this isn't even about a race thing. This is just literally about real life. So I'm not playing the game that you're all winners. Because when you go out and interview for a job at whatever Fortune 500 company we've allowed you to educationally through the goals you achieve, and that is a platform in which you may have an access or an opportunity to. When you go out and interview for that job, and it's 10 of you guys interviewing for one position at Uber corporate to work for the CEO or whatever the case may be, they're not going to come back and send you a letter and say, "Hey, we picked Johnny, but we just want you to know everyone are winners, and here's a portion of Johnny's salary." You're going to still be fucking broke when you wake up in the morning because Johnny won the job. And that's the real thing in life. We need to talk about how people go to these levels, reach these goals, and achieve. And everyone doesn't get that. They don't.
Yeah, ain't no participation trophies in life, big dog.
No, not at all.
No,
I feel like
it is. It's called Medicaid.
Oh, what's you, man?
It is. Nah, let's keep it solid. Like, we're being honest, right? Like, you either.
Oh, you talking about like food stamps and Section 8?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is, right? Because life will reward you for just being a busy bee, right? It will give you something. It'll give you a participation trophy. We'll give you a voucher for your rent, right? We'll give you some food stamps. And I'm not knocking it, right? Because, I came up on that stuff. I'm not knocking it. But what I'm saying is,
Parrish is thinking though. Let Parrish go with that thought that was in his head. Parrish got me on that. I saw it.
No, go ahead.
Say what you say. Say what you say.
Finish. No, I want you to finish the statement. Go ahead.
I came up on it, so I'm not knocking it. But what I'm saying is, you have to want more for yourself, because in life, too many people are taking what people give them instead of taking what they want. Mm-hmm. Right? You can't. Life is about fulfillment, right? And if you're not chasing fulfillment, if you're not chasing the things that's going to make you happy, because you're only opening the doors that people open for you, then as Black man, then we're stuck. We're screwed. We're fucked. Right? So we have to position ourselves to go after what we want. And if I'm so afraid that you're going to cancel me because I made a mistake, then I'm never going to take that risk. You've conditioned me with fear. Right? Dewan, oh, you can't do this, you can't do that because you just can't. So now I sit back and I do nothing. I sit at home and I collect government assistance because you told me all my life I can't. And if I do make a mistake, y'all gonna laugh at me, right? In our culture, man, we got family members who make fun of us because we educated, or because we live in nice neighborhoods, or because we take care of our families, right? Think about that, man. Think about that. Go ahead.
You ain't lying. You ain't never lied.
I got let's go deeper than that. I have family members that are entrepreneur and hustling geniuses. I put their business acumen up there with any CEO, any of the Jay-Z's, anything like that right now. And they are scared to have that level of belief in themselves because of the same thing that you just mentioned right now. They could run some stuff. They could run shit. They're beautiful minds. But like you said, that fear of being laughed at, that fear of being canceled because you made that mistake keeps them in that box that stops them from transcending to their true level of greatness. Not a level of potential, because that's what somebody believes in you. But when you say a person's level of greatness, you already know that it's there. And when I speak of these people, this is greatness that's there. It's not what you might be able to be. And they have a fear of that based on what society is placed around.
Yeah, that's the idea. Don't block your blessing, big dog.
Yeah.
Hey, it's gonna be some doors and some hurdles in your way, but you got to go ahead and try to knock them doors down. If you got to tap it a million times, it's gonna come at some point. It's gonna come off the hinge. But I mean, that's a good topic. It's a good idea. Like, some people do just get on the rat wheel every day, and some people try to climb that mountain. It's just kind of how it is. So that's tough. But don't nobody owe us nothing, though. So that's the thing. That's the thing I think the youth got to know. Don't nobody owe you nothing.
No.
You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody owe you anything. They might cancel you for it or whatever, but you'll bounce back. You'll do something different.
Yeah, I think the reason why I was nodding my head and listening, because some of the stuff that we were discussing kind of leads you to be greater. You're doing your best and you want to do better. So when we're talking about like that government assistance, I think that's what pushed me to do more. Like, I don't want to be in this situation for the rest of my life. I've seen that generational situation happen over and over again. So that pushes you, I think, to do better. Now, is it going to make me want to sit down if, somebody doesn't like what I'm doing? I mean, maybe, but at the same time, I've already been there. So I'm not afraid to go back to that situation again. But I think what I was, from the cancel culture that I'm getting at is more of, there's people not saying don't say something, but we're going to tailor how you say it. I think that's the part that gets me. Like, you can speak on it, but we're going to tell you how you can speak on it. And that's the part that always gets to me, because I mean, at the end of the day, unless you are the person in charge, and I'm saying completely in charge, everybody is a paycheck away from like, sorry, you ain't working no more. So that's the part that gets me. I'm going to speak on, like, in my job, it's not said don't speak on politics, or political platforms if you're representing the job, but if you're alone, you can do it. So that's the kind of stuff. Like, now, if I was at work and I spoke on like a political statement, then yeah, that'd be some issues that I'm like, that's a cancel culture in which I'm talking about, is that somebody saying, hey, no matter what you're doing, we don't want you to speak a certain way. And that's the part that's like, that's the part.
P. Before you go, Jeff, real quick, P. That's part of it, but the even worse part of it is just people canceling because you're doing something that they can't do, or no, they can do. They just haven't attempted to do it because they're scared. They've been conditioned to not to do it or whatever reason. Like, people get canceled every day simply because they're starting a business. They got married. They had kids. They did something different than what the people around them are doing. And that culture in itself is a problem, right? We don't celebrate people anymore, right? We don't celebrate people. We celebrate people being mediocre, right? And so we celebrated. We got behind Sha'Carri when she was, when she got banned for the Olympics and all that, right? And we celebrated her and her right to smoke weed and regardless, right? And then when she got back in the race, and she raced against these people who just ran in the Olympics and things of that nature, and she lost, they turned their back on her.
Laughed.
You know what I'm saying? They turned their back on her. You know what I'm saying? However, had she finished 4th or 5th, they would have been celebrating her.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? Like we supposed to be celebrating greatness. And that doesn't mean we don't celebrate people who give their best effort to try their best, because effort should be celebrated as well.
Definitely.
But we celebrate mediocre behavior to a point now where, because we can't be honest. My wife, we got home from a soccer game one day, and I made a comment that said, check his birth certificate, right? The kid was big. You know what I'm saying? The kid was big. These kids are 7. This kid looked like he was like 10.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, check his birth certificate, right? My wife came home and said, babe, you got to watch when you say stuff like that, because one of the moms was offended and she said something to the coach about it. What? This is a sport. You know, that's why the daddies used to be at the sport, not the mamas. Right? What are you talking about? I can't joke and laugh and joke. The coach said the same thing. When I said it, the coach looked at me and I just said, yeah. So we live in a society now where you can't say anything that makes anyone uncomfortable because they're going to go home and cry. They're going to have some issues and deal with that. And people think that's the leading cause of suicide. No, one of the leading causes of suicide is people feeling like they are not seen or heard or valued. Not for the person you want them to be, but the person they want to be. And that's the problem with cancel culture.
That's good. No, I was going back to kind of what Paris was talking about in regards to like Boosie, right? So all Boosie said, he said a couple things, but he said mostly was, I don't want my kids to see Lil Nas X on stage with no clothes on. Oh, buddy said he'd go on stage and do his show with no clothes on. Boosie's like, I don't care what he is. I don't care if he's straight or gay or whatever he is, but I don't want my kids to see that. Isn't that his right as a parent to say, I don't want to see that?
Absolutely.
You know, I don't want my kids to see that. And it's like, okay, well, you bashing the LGBTQ plus because Lil Nas X is one of us and they gonna ride. You see what I'm saying? Instead of being like, I understand what Boosie's saying. I just don't want to see that. I don't care what he is. I don't want a straight male or woman to do that. And I don't have the ability to say, oh, I don't want my kids to see that. You know what I'm saying? And we had a show and they just get naked. Like, wait. I thought we was doing Old Town Road. Where did this come from? You know what I'm saying? So that's the thing. Like, he ain't got no Instagram no more. He ain't got any of that social media anymore because he got canceled. But he is a boss and an owner. You know, he got his products that he does sell. So he's okay. But when it comes to like the social media and the media, nobody's like, we're not touching Boosie anymore because he's just saying wild stuff. But he's being honest and true to himself. And he's saying, I'm not going to change my thoughts and my feelings because I'm these kids' daddy. They're going to do what I say. I run this household. Y'all don't. So that's
he elected a whole president that said wild shit. Regardless of your politics, right? He said wild shit. Like that whole politically correct thing.
Out the door.
He blew it out the water.
Right.
And that man was president. And some people, 70 million people voted him to come back. So what are we really doing?
Right.
Well, you guys brought up a good point too about the Lil Nas X thing and how that played out, because that's a segment I also want to get into after I make this point, is that he came out and what he came out with was Old Town Road. That's how he presented himself to my children, your children, and all the children of America when he was a superstar at that point. And what he has positioned himself to be after everything after that just makes me feel like in the world of cancel culture that we live in right now, that was a divisive move. That was a strategic.
Well, hold on, before you do that, Tab, it was strategic because I felt like he was culture vulture type of.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't know.
I thought he was a country. First, I thought he was a black man that was trying to get support to break into country music that also had a nice little song that could be played at line stepping and for our children, your children, everyone's children. Then what we got out of that was something totally different. And I just want to clarify this, even though I'm not scared of the cancel culture. Y'all can bring that shit if y'all want to. I'm just going to say it like this. I do understand that there is a time and a place and a stage you have to step on. In the beginning of my career as a probationary employee, I'm going to be less likely to say certain things, and I'm going to be more likely to play ball than I am as a non-probationary employee that has something to stand on, some level of legitimacy, some level of security. There's going to be a little bit more leeway in what I do and what I say. However, in this situation, this was clearly almost two different artists appearing in front of us. It was like going from day to night. They were two different things. And like Jeff said, and like I said, that appears to me to be strategic and divisive, because a lot of who you were and what you wanted to say and what you wanted to be heard for, you decided, let me take the bag and do it this way because I don't want to create this whirlwind around me.
I'm still, I don't know what to think about the dude. To be honest, I don't know. Like it's like Tab said, it's like this is two different people.
It's like going from Hannah Montana to Miley Cyrus. The kids thought they were about to see Hannah Montana live, and then they got Miley Cyrus. And again, no knock to what they're doing. Right. It's just you be mindful of your population and how your population will receive your actions and things of that nature.
They ain't canceling nobody though. They're not canceling that dude though.
Who?
Lil Nas X, they're not canceling him.
Nah.
But I don't think the argument is that he
They don't
should
need to be canceled.
I don't think
he's not.
for me, he shouldn't be canceled. There's a group, a genre.
He's not going against the grain.
Yeah, there's a group and a genre of people in which I think he will.
Wait a minute, he got blood in tennis shoes.
Yeah, Nike canceled them shoes quick. They canceled them damn things quick.
Out of there.
Get him up out of here.
He's got blood in tennis shoes, and he goes highly provocative and does all these things. But you know what, though? On the contrary, Marilyn Manson did too, and there was a whole market for Marilyn.
But they love him in rock and roll.
So-
Rock and roll do wild shit.
Hey, Marilyn Manson cut out his ribs
That's a lie.
so he can give himself fellatio.
That's not real.
You sure about that?
He shaved off the bottom lower part of his ribs
That ain't real,
so he
bro.
can give himself fellatio.
Stupid, man.
Hey, you wilding right now.
Hey, y'all telling me y'all ain't hear? Y'all telling me y'all ain't hear that?
I don't think that's
How
real.
you know it ain't real? You know him?
I don't think so, man.
Time out.
He's saying he had a surgery.
Time out.
Is that even
Jeff-
physically possible?
I don't know.
Jeff is saying it ain't real, like he know for sure. He's trying to cancel what I'm saying, and he don't even know for sure. You see what the problem is with people?
I'm trying to say, is that medically feasible to do that, bro?
Yeah, Dwayne, basically what you saying is he can cut out his ribs so he can
Nah,
top.
that's not what I'm saying. That's what they say. I'm telling you.
So I heard. Let me add a twist to this topic too, because I heard.
I'm gonna Google it.
Google then. Damn, you acting like one of the kids. Nah, Dan, I'm gonna Google it.
Yeah.
So let me add a twist to this. So we're talking about how cancel culture is, and it's creating a norm, right? And it's creating a way where your mediocre can get accepted. And I was listening to an interview, and then the artist was talking about how are we canceling the person off top, or should we be educating them more so that they can speak more soundly to the topics? And so now my question is educating the person, are we educating, or are we saying let's educate them so that they can assimilate or go with the flow? Or are we saying we should educate them so that they can speak more profound of what they're going against? In the cancel culture, how would that exist? What would you guys say about that? So if I'm educating you on like, oh, this is how you should approach it, am I lessening what you're saying, or am I saying no, you should still continue to do it, but this is the mindset you should have going forward? Is that still canceling, or is that promoting you?
No, what they're doing with that is it's like somebody has some anti-Semitic stuff in football, and they're like, "Oh, you're gonna just take a class on cultural diversity." All they're doing is giving you a pacifier way to say "my bad" without saying "my bad."
And I think that that's stupid, because if I look at, I make this general just in case the feds do a sweep. If I look at in general, you offering cultural diversity officers, classes to police officers, after the class is over and we've educated them on that, it doesn't mean that all of them are going to be receptive to that and now embody that in the way in which they perform at work. We're still going to have a whole bunch of biases that come in that. I could even dumb it down and make it a little bit more general and real. I would say that out of my group of friends, especially this panel sitting right here, not all my group of friends, but you guys in general, based on educational accolades, you guys have a higher educational accolades than I do. It doesn't mean that you guys condition me to think, talk, or walk in the same way that you guys do. So this whole thing about educating people, where does it go and what does it mean? We still come from where we come from. We still articulate ourselves based on who we are as a person, who we are based on our experiences and our education. So just because you want to come in and offer me classes, or Dewan wants to offer me a pamphlet or a seminar, and I have two friends on here that are mental health counselors, it doesn't mean that I approach every situation like a mental health counselor, because this is my immediate circle. So this level of education and people wanting to do that, it's nice. It's a start. It's something to add to it. However, it doesn't mean that it's going to change the way people go about shit.
For the record, there's no record of Marilyn Manson cutting off the bottom of his ribs to give himself fellatio.
You're still
according to Wikipedia. And Tav, hold on, I have a problem. We're going to address this problem on the perspective. Tab always talking about the feds watching. He the feds.
That's why they're watching.
God, you the feds, bro. You always talking about the feds doing something. You the feds.
Hilarious.
That's why they're watching. Your fan base is mental health people. They want to come in here and get counseled by you, Mr. Bennett, whose book is booked up all the way for the next rest of the year. They come to Paris when they need to figure out how to get their educational goals met. So clearly my fan base is going to be the feds that are watching me because that is the group of my peers. So I'm saying it like I'm not with them.
Pretty much Taff is saying
they're here because I'm here.
Taff is like a restaurant when you know how you go to a restaurant, you're like, hey, y'all ran out of chicken, but we only serve chicken. What else we gonna run out of? So that's what Taff is. Hey, I'm a police officer. Who else am I representing? Who else is gonna come up to me?
Exactly.
Hey, I have a fan base just like the rest of you assholes do, okay? So therefore, I know what I do for a living. I would expect that, local government officials would also be tuning in because that's my fan base, all right? It ain't my fan base.
Hey, what y'all think about what y'all what happened with Rachel Nichols? Did y'all see this morning that ESPN and they removed her from NBA Tonight?
No, she
everything basically.
She off the NBA, whatever.
How y'all feel about that, man? I think
I don't like that.
I don't know. Maria Taylor gone. So what is it now? Why y'all acting retroactively? This happened in the bubble. The bubble was in 2020, wasn't it?
So DeJuan, I know you're gonna get there and we're gonna go to that. And I think
hold on. Was Jimmy really smacking them cheeks?
Jimmy got sold.
Jimmy was in the bubble.
Jimmy won't move. I don't know.
Jimmy was in the bubble, said he needed something to do, huh? Never mind. Let's off track.
I see we getting a little bit deep into our minutes, and I do want to bring this up too about that. Is that that's a topic that we got to talk about in general too, man.
Hey, they was in the bubble, man. He had no choice.
Nobody in the bubble was supposed to be bubbling. Nobody in the bubble was supposed to be bubbling.
Yeah. Bubble was supposed to have just been for basketball.
Y'all are sick.
Tab, bro. What are you about to say, man? Go ahead. Bro.
Well, lost it. No, I'll get back to it though. This is what I was gonna say though. There are a couple of topics in cancel culture that I feel we never get to really get to, and we only touch the surface, and then people cancel those conversations quick. This Rachel Nichols thing and things like that, and people trying to give knee-jerk reactions to how to fix the black and white relationships. It's always overboard and never the right, it's never really addressing the actual problem. And with this Rachel Nichols thing and Maria Taylor thing, this is the conversation in which if you are having a conversation with a white person, they'd be like, damn, these things went above and overboard. And us as black people, I feel like, yeah, we're both sitting in this space where we don't get to address the issue. So
my fault.
I was just gonna say, so with race, we never really get a chance to get deep into the conversation before it gets canceled. And I'm just going, stop me if I'm wrong or challenge flag me. Domestic violence and how those things happen. We never get a chance to get deep into those conversations because we hit the cancel button before we get there. I think that we need to hear everybody's stories, listen to everybody's things. There are topics in which we need to get so deeply involved in listening to everything going on so we can get to the root of true solutions.
We'll talk about it. Bring it up.
Where do we want to go with that, though?
No, I'm gonna start first here with the Rachel Nichols thing. I feel like she was just talking to her partner, like, man, they gonna just take my spot and give it to Maria. Maria's good, but she is a person of color. You know what I'm saying? I think the thing with her was that's a company ESPN problem. It ain't a problem like what she said. She probably just at the crib just talking or talking to one of the partners like she was doing and laughing and joking, even though some stuff she said wasn't right. But this is in her off time. She wasn't representing ESPN at this time. She was in her room talking to whoever on her phone, doing whatever she was doing. But the company policy is, we can only have one of y'all represent the face of ESPN on the NBA finals. We're going to have one of y'all host the NBA jump, whatever. And it's only going to be, at that time, it was the white woman. So they felt like Maria was kind of ascending. She felt like Maria was ascending too fast, and then she was going to take her job. But it's a competition, so she had the right to be kind of mad.
Yeah, of course she did.
But like y'all said in the beginning, it's a competition. Somebody got to lose, somebody got to win. Everybody can't have the same job.
Bruh. They placating us. That's all that is. They just doing these things, firing these people, letting these people go just to make us feel good. Then they just bring them back later on. Like Tav said, we got to have deeper discussions about these things. Don't fire the person. Let's talk about it. Let's look. Y'all want to have a town hall? Let's ESPN have a town hall about that. Get her on stage, ask her what's going on, why she was feeling that way, and don't wait a month. Do it the next day before she get lawyered up and all that. Like, let's have these conversations out loud instead of running from them because we fired people. That just makes me feel like you think I'm slow. I ain't slow. All you're trying to do is avoid the conversation.
Well, just like we started off saying this, though, they do it in the beginning. Well, it happens, and then if you wait long enough, people forget about it, and that's how we work in entertainment. You forget about it, and you're like, well, that was in the past, and we'll let it go and move forward. But again, it comes down to, and here's an example of when I was, and this is going to be a little bit controversial. When we're talking about the cancel culture, the first person that came to my mind when we brought all this up, just circling back, and the reason why I asked my question about teaching was Michael Vick was my first thought when I thought about cancel culture and how it depends on who is dictating the story that people follow. So yes, animal cruelty is bad, right? But in some cultures, and I'm just saying, in some cultures, there's like, oh, it's just some dogs. Whereas in other cultures, they're like, no, this is horrible. He should go to jail. Da, 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 da. But since that was the culture that dominated the conversation, his whole NFL career just went left, and he did time in jail. Whereas other people doing other things is way different from that. Get like you said, a president who always been grabbing women by the crotch. It's not a big deal. We're just gonna let it go. And those are the things that I was referring to when I was talking about asking the question, do you teach? Because it seems like the teaching is just putting it under the water and not really caring about it, instead of like you guys are going to, and I'm glad Tav brought it up, going back to how do we teach people not to be a part of the cancel culture, and we move on and actually have these real discussions. That's what I was trying to bring it all the way back to.
And you're right, P, because you said these things go away, but I would offer a slightly different opinion on that. Some of this shit don't go away, right? Like, we had all these people, and I'm just going to keep going there until y'all got to just replace me with somebody else because I didn't got canceled. We had all these people go one way with Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby got out. What he did when he got out, he said, and he walked out the jail on him, and it was a meme, and people laughed and different things like that. But really, let's talk about that. Bill Cosby was supposed to have been canceled. He was supposed to go to rotten jail and die, and that was supposed to be the end of his story. He did not. Whether he's guilty or not guilty, I'm not saying one or the other. All I'm saying is that he got out, and because that situation never really had a real discussion around what it was or what we felt, it came back, and what did it do? It created a divide between people even more.
Man, I ain't talking about no goddamn Bill Cosby.
Hey, our producer hit the button because he said he told him don't talk about that.
Yeah. The producer hit the button to save my job.
No, but I mean,
y'all see Howard let go of his wife from the show. What was her name again?
Alicia Rashad?
Bill Cosby. Yeah, but her name on the show, not her real name.
Oh, you're talking about Claire Huxtable?
Claire Huxtable. They let go. Howard let her go.
Howard job from her?
Yeah, because she celebrated him getting out.
Wow.
They wanted her out of there. Well, at least they wanted her out of there for sure.
But that's all.
Culture.
But that's what I'm saying, though, right? We get too deep into having the real conversation, you get canceled. There's a lot of conversation that we should have around Bill Cosby. I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's guilty or he's innocent. I'm saying there's a conversation we need to be having.
But that's the hard part. That's the hard
conversation for the opinion that you have that gets you canceled. That's what I'm trying to say. It's the opinion that you have that gets you canceled. Can't have no opinion.
I think even trying to push the conversation forward gets you canceled, because then people say, "Oh, he said something that sounded like it was in defense of," and then they go and cancel you. We can't get to it. We can't just simply state, let's have a deeper conversation about Meg and Tory. Let's have a deeper conversation about Chris Brown and Rihanna. Let's have a deeper conversation about the sexual assault that's happening with women. Let's have a deeper conversation about the LGBTQ community plus. And if I miss any letters, please don't cancel me, because I'm not trying to be offensive. We can't have a conversation about those things and get deep, because as soon as we start getting past just the surface of this shit, you've done something wrong. I'm not trying to be offensive.
Don't forget Deshaun Watson.
Man.
I don't even know what to do with that dude.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
I'm like,
you know what? You know who didn't get canceled? You know who didn't get canceled? And I'm not trying to make it race, but let's just talk about it. When Ben Roethlisberger went through everything he went through, he didn't get canceled. When Trevor Bauer, is that his name? Trevor Bauer?
But Trevor Bauer got receipts.
Even though before he even had receipts, he didn't get canceled.
No, they just put him on pause because they wanted to get the information.
But if that would have been one of us, your ass would have been.
You know why that's happening, Tab? It's either this or it's that.
Even in that conversation, we talked about all the other things. We talked about. I want to get into it.
Light and dark. Boy, the one I don't want today. But no, that's what Paris is talking about, though. That's that. Right. That's that conversation of. I'm gonna just do a little bit of training. My bad. All right, let me get back to work or get back to what I was saying. They don't have the conversation. Never happens.
No, my bad.
Oh, and I was gonna say the conversations never happen because nobody's gonna be vulnerable enough to say like, "Hey, I didn't really know that this, that, and the other thing," or "I didn't know that hurt your feelings," or "I didn't know that was a bad thing." I didn't know saying that's gay was a bad thing because that's all we've been raised on to say that's gay. You know what I'm saying? So we didn't. You know what I'm saying? Nobody wants to be vulnerable to say that they either ignorant towards something or they just didn't know. Or shoot, that's my opinion. Deal with me or don't. Well, fuck you.
I mean, what makes
Brad, you can't say that's gay.
I know you can't. What I'm saying, that's the thing. You can't say that now, right?
And the reason why that kills
you can't say gay no more.
You can't say that's gay.
You can't say that's gay.
The reason why is that
as an adjective.
Wait, Dave.
He trying to save us. He trying to save us.
Dave Chappelle said it best. Dave Chappelle said it best when he was talking about his stand-up, and he was like, "In my show, I can say the N-word all day long, but if I say something about a different community that I'm not a part of, it's an issue." And then they were like, "Yeah, because you're not part of that community." And he was like, "But I'm not an N-word either." So it comes down to like, if you're not, and that's the push button. If you're not part of that community, you shouldn't speak on it. But then if I speak on my own community in a negative way, that's okay. So it's
Pito, like in general, when you watching censored TV, they'll censor the hell out of everything. But they don't censor the N-word. Nigga is cool to say. So, I mean, let's just think about how that makes me feel in this world of cancel culture. You can say, talk about gays. You can talk about the B-word. All of those things will get bleeped out. But if I'm watching a show that's supposed to be censored, Boondocks or whatever it is, and they say, nigga, it ain't censored? How?
Hey, y'all. Look, a key point in a lot of this conversation about why we don't have conversation about it is a lot of people, they don't have a position of value, right? They're hypocrites. In one moment they say this, and the next moment they say that, and then the next moment they say this and that, right? And like Jeff said, sometimes it's race related, right? Where you know, when Michael Vick did what he did, when Barry Bonds did what he did. Right, Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens was the perfect example. Right, when I remember every day for about a year, ESPN talked about Barry Bonds every day. They brought him up every day.
Every day.
When Roger Clemens did it, they talked about it for a couple of weeks. They talked about it here and there, but he didn't get the same airtime.
What was the bike rider? What's the bike rider too?
Lance Armstrong.
How
long they talk about that?
They ain't talk about that, right?
When Michael, a little longer than Roger Clemens, but not that.
Hey, bro, they still talk about Vic and them dogs, but like Trav said, they don't talk about Ben Roethlisberger. You know what I'm saying? That boy had multiple accusations, right? And so again, society determines who they're going to cancel and who they're not going to cancel, but because people don't have a position of value, you get what I'm saying? My uncle just said it best downstairs when I was talking to him. He brought up an example of how some people, they, you know, you have people out here protesting. Black Lives Matter. Woo, woo, woo. We all went out there and got our protests on, right? And you had, you know, a lot of people who they were against the Black Lives Matter movement. You know, they were probably conservatives or whatever. They were against the Black Lives Matter movement, but they have that biracial child in their family. Their biracial son, nephew, daughter had an interaction with the police that went south, and all of a sudden, Black Lives Matter, right? Black Lives Matter. Well, hold on. Black lives didn't matter until it affected your doorstep, your home. So where's your value? Do Black Lives matter, or does your family member life matter. You know what I'm saying? And then Black Lives Matter, y'all shouldn't be protesting. Why are y'all protesting? You fools raided you did a whole insurrection. Your bus then violated, stormed the Capitol, violated federal laws. You know, police officers lost their lives. You know, PTSD, all type of things. And now it's okay to protest. You got people protesting outside of schools, intimidating teachers because they're wearing masks, intimidating nurses because they're wearing masks. But we couldn't protest lives. We couldn't protest our lives being lost. Y'all protesting elections and policy about masks. So where's your value system? Either you're against it or are you only for it when it supports your agenda? And I think that's the whole thing with cancel culture in general. People have their agendas, and when something reaches their agenda and it lights up their little bell, this is the issue we need to be paying attention to, then they jump in. But then when there's an issue that doesn't affect their agenda, that can affect another community, they don't say anything. I'm consistent. Protest if you want to. I've always said Black lives matter, white lives matter, Asian lives matter, all lives matter. I'm with you.
We got a blue live in here too.
Hey, we got a blue life. I'm with all. I'm all that. So if you're gonna say all lives matter, then I should be okay saying Black lives matter, right? So the aspect of life is all lives matter to a certain degree, but Black lives people act as if Black lives don't matter. But people wanted to cancel us because of that. You know, people losing their jobs at Chick-fil-A and places like that because they wear the shirts, right? But then people can wear them flags, the blue flag with the black and the white, and there was no issues. Again, it's our value system. We don't have a consistent value system. We just kind of go with the flow and the wind, and wherever it carries us, that's where we end up.
Yeah, it's one of those things, Dewan. I think as people of color and minorities, which we all are, it's something that we're sensitive to, like, because we've been down in the dumps in multiple ways, in multiple situations, and however you want to put it in the prison, whether that be whatever institution you want to put it in, whether that's education, socioeconomic, whatever institution you want to put it in. We've been at the bottom of the barrel of all of those. But some people don't see it from that prism. They think they at the top of the food chain just because of this or that, right? But I think we have a sensitivity to all those things that some people just are not born to, or they're not taught that. But I think us as Black men and Black people, that's something that we just have, and it's innate in us to like want everybody to win. Like if you get something based on your marriage, then you got it, because that's how we get ours. We don't get nothing based on nothing else other than your merit and your hard work, right? So that's kind of how we think and how we move. But people that are not a part of this culture, or minorities, et cetera, or immigrants or whatever, they don't have to view the world in that way, because the damn USA is set up for them to win.
Definitely.
That was a mic drop.
I mean, it was. I was like, yeah, there's no coming back to that one. Like, yeah, it's only a certain culture and certain individuals that get affected by, and I think that's what this is summing up to say. Only certain individuals are affected by the cancel culture. It doesn't cancel out everybody, and it's only to be canceled is only dictated by a certain group of individuals, depending on who is at the top of the food chain at that time, because it changes regularly. So it can go so many ways. And like Taff was saying, though, without the conversations, you're never going to get to the bottom line of why a cancel happens or why it should continue to happen, because there's never going to be a conversation. It's just we all on it. Like right now, everybody's on crates. Don't understand why, but everybody's on crates, and then it'll move on to something else. It's just part of the culture we live in.
Hey, can y'all start saying Jacoby again? They're going to fire me after today. Like, what happened to Jacoby? It's just Tav now, but it's Jacoby. Stop calling me that.
Yeah. Our bad.
I'm getting fired. I do a lot of shit on the show, off the show. I'm repping for the section, at the department, outside the department. Can I be Jacoby again before this shit gets bad?
Why did your beard age so much in the last month? Your beard was black.
I hope everybody dying they shit like I did. Cancel your dumb ass right now, because you know what, you keep on playing. I hope everybody is dying they shit with guys Beijing Coco Midnight. I hope they get with me and they cancel your ass, because you know the only people that really get canceled anyways is people of color anyways. Cancel his ass tonight, y'all.
Hey, you didn't get your prescription in? What happened?
Nah, bro, I decided to go back to natural because y'all banged me out so bad. I was like, oh, well,
No. You did it to yourself. Look at the picture behind you. The picture behind you is yourself with gray hair in your beard.
That's why it's not showing the whole picture no more. This is the type of. And if you guys have friends like I had, you wouldn't have no friends because they'd all be fucking canceled too. That's what would happen right now. They'd all be canceled.
About to cancel everybody.
When you're just with them by yourself, these are the type of. I want to call y'all that word, but I ain't gonna say it 2 times in one show. Ooh,
it depends on how you use it.
The ones that you cancel them.
Hey,
the type of one. How about that?
Hey, say that, buddy.
Hey, what do y'all want to say to the audience, man? Before we disconnect for the evening, what y'all got for the people?
I mean, I'll go first. As always, you only get to do this one time. So, well, you get to do this every day, but you only live one life. So, take advantage of it. Dealing with the cancel culture, man, do your research. Huh?
We gotta get you checked out, man. I don't know what happened this week.
What you mean? You only get one life. Enjoy it, shit. But at the same time, hey, and with the cancel culture, man, do your research before you decide something ain't relevant anymore. That's how I wanted to end it.
Woo, that's a bar.
I know. I'm gonna tell you what the cancel that got dog on crate challenge. Somebody gonna die.
Man,
that crate challenge.
Quick. And you know everybody doing that shit ain't even got no health insurance.
Exactly.
Y'all see my Hispanic dude up there? He was up there. He was rocking. And that boy fell on his face.
Whole face, bro. Anywho, I guess it's my
turn.
Getting cold.
Send it. Hit the like, subscribe, dislike, whatever you want to click. Just click something. Comment on that thing, whether it's good or bad. We appreciate y'all's support. Like I said, you only get to. He said you only get to do this thing once, but I always say be a good human. I always say big and human. He said you only get to do this once. We kind of all got a little thing, but big and human, man. That's it. That's all we ask for.
All I gotta say is that I think that we all need to be open to having more conversation. I think the harsh version of it, and this is as harsh as I'm gonna get, is stop being soft. Let's get in a position where we allow ourselves to have conversations that are a little bit more tougher than we usually have them, so that we can get to the surface of the problem and issues. And I mean, we'll not get below the surface of the problem and issues and get right down in the depths and figure out what it is. It's a lot of stuff that's going on that we really don't understand that well, that we just are kind of floating around, bypassing because we don't want to get into it. We need to know this shit. The world is changing, life is changing, and we need to do an install update. So let's get deeper into the shit so that we can have real important in-depth conversations, figure out what people need and want.
Hey, I echo all the things my brother said. I think it's important, guys. We can't grow if we can't do uncomfortable things. And sometimes in order for us to grow, we got to have uncomfortable conversations. If we're quickly trying to get rid of people simply because they have a different perspective, then we can never learn. We all come from different backgrounds, different experiences, different environments, and we all have different ways in which we view the world. And before we get rid of people simply because they are trying to articulate something and they may not articulate it in the best way, we should ask a question. Before we make an assumption, we should ask a question. Give people grace, show compassion, be curious, and we'll learn a lot more. The media and some political bodies would like to keep us very closed-minded and like us to attack each other, so we not focus on what they're doing. I think we need to figure out as people how to get on the same page and start asking questions instead of forming judgment and opinion. So, please like, please subscribe, share the episode with your friends, with your family members, with your pastor, with your rabbi, share them with whoever. And we'll catch you when we catch you. Until the next time, we love y'all. Be safe, be smart, get that vaccine, strap up, and we'll catch you later.
It's FDA approved. It's FDA approved, big dog.
And you talking about giving people grace? How I just ain't got baby powder in my beard, or it ain't no powdered donut still on my face? Like, y'all don't give me no damn grace. Y'all are full of shit. That's what these keep going up and up.
Damn.
Time out. Where you get baby powder on your face? What you doing, man?
It could have been anything. Is my